Hello, students of class 10. I hope you are well. Today we are going to read the poem of your third chapter, the ball poem. Let's know something about the poet before we start reading the poem. John Allen McAlpin Berryman, he was a major figure in American poetry, and he was an important person, a key person in the confessional school of poetry. Is a branch of postmodern poetry which mainly emerged in United States in later half of 20th century. Confessional poetry, as you can guess from the name itself, the topic of these poems are very of a very personal tone, and most of the times these poems are written in first person narrative. So the poet talks about his or her personal things. They often reflect their own life. So, our poet John Berryman, he was one of the key figures in this confessional school of poetry, and his most important work is the Dream Songs. This is a book of poetry which consists of 385 poems, and this book was so famous that he had won Pulitzer Prize and National Book Award for this book. Now let's read the poem. This poem basically talks about a little boy, how he loses a ball. Now, this seems like a very ordinary incident, right? That whenever we are young, we lose something. We break our toys, and throughout our life, we always lose something. But the losing of this ball is very important in this little boy's life because for the first time he understands what is the loss, what is he understands the pain, the grief of losing something. So this ball symbolizes something great in his life. Let's see, let's read the poem now. What is the boy now who has lost this his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. No one used to say, "Oh, there are other balls." An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy, and as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down, all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball, is worthless. Now he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy. And no one buys a ball back. Money is external. He is learning, well behind his desperate eyes, the epistemology of loss. How to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. In this poem, uh, we see that, as I have explained before, a boy, a little boy who was playing with a ball. He had taken that ball for granted. He is very attached with that ball. He is very fond of his ball, and he was bouncing it on the street. Suddenly, within a minute, the ball crosses the street and it falls down in the water of a harbor, in such a place where the boy cannot retrieve the ball. Now, at first it seems like very ordinary incident because only a ball is losing. So some people might say that it is not so important if he can just go and buy another ball. But this ball is very symbolic. This boy has many memories attached to that ball. That ball had been a part of his young life. So as soon as this ball is losing, as soon as this ball is falling into a place from which it cannot be retrieved, the boy is feeling that his innocence, that his that his childhood is slipping away from him. Okay, an ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. So you can see in this poem that his ball is actually symbolizing all his young days, and the boy stands rigid. Okay, so he is so shocked that he cannot move. He is trembling. The shock, the grief has is making him tremble, and he is staring down. He is just hopelessly, helplessly staring. He is just looking at the ball as it is going. I would not intrude on him. So, what is the meaning of the intrude? When to go somewhere where you are unwelcome, go somewhere uninvited. Okay, so if someone now goes to the boy and says that do not cry, you can buy another ball, these kinds of sympathy will be worthless to the boy. The child will not have any use of these sympathies, because whenever we are facing a grief, whenever we are sad, this sadness is ultimate. No sympathies like this can alter the sadness. And another ball, he can buy another ball, but that ball will never be the same, because it will not have all these memories, all this fondness attached with it. A dime, another ball, is worthless. Okay, so just as I told you, a dime here is money, as we know that 10, a dime is equal to 10 cents, and 10, the how many cents are there in a dollar? 100 cents make a dime, 100 cents make a dollar, and 10 cents make a dime. So the poet is saying that if you provide the money of a ball to that boy, it will not have any use to him. Okay, even another new ball will have no use, and a new ball will not be received in such a good manner. Now he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. Okay, so what is possession? Possession means ownership. So whenever you own something, you have to be responsible for it. This responsibility can be true for many things. Every material thing that you own, it can be a ball, it can be a mobile, it can be a book, it can be anything you own. And also the responsibility will deal with the human beings of your life. Okay, the people we have around us, our loved ones, we also have to be responsible for them. We have to be good enough and caring towards them also, because this loss, though this poem, see, the poet is saying that money is external. So whatever you can buy with money, that is external, and you cannot buy love and fondness and memories with your money. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it will not, it will never be enough. Okay, so that is why responsibility is the thing. Up till that moment, the boy had taken the ball for granted. He had probably thought that that ball will be with him always, because the ball had been his true friend up till that moment. But within a second, that ball is lost. Such is the term of our life, such is the manner of our life. We never know what is going to happen in the next moment. Okay, so our life is like an accident. Every second, we do not know what is going to come to the next moment. So that is why we need to be responsible. We need to be very careful in our life towards all our relationships and towards all our possessions. People will take balls, balls will be lost always. See this line, this is quite symbolical. People will take balls means here the ball symbolizes all your possessions, all your relationship, everything that you have in your life. Okay, so sometimes it might happen that people, some other people is going to take things from you. Your things will might go to other people. Okay, and also balls will be lost always. So it doesn't matter whatever you have, however steadily you have it, it will be lost, because nothing in this life is permanent. Our The only permanent thing in our life is the impermanence of it. So everything will be lost and we will have to make our peace with it. No one buys a ball back. So, see, the poet is now saying that no one buys a ball. He's saying that no one buys a ball back. That means that something which is lost once, it cannot be bought back. If you are losing a ball, if you are losing anything, that it will not come back, you will not get it. You can buy something new. You can buy a new ball in exchange of the old ball. You can buy something new in exchange of the old thing that you had, but it will be a new thing without all the memories, without all the fondness. So ball back, no one buys a ball back. It means that whatever you have lost, you cannot get it. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much you are willing to spend, you are never going to get that old thing back if you want, if you lost it once. He Money is external. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and must know many days how to stand up. So here he is learning. So the learning is going on well behind his desperate eyes. So he is desperate to get the ball back, but he knows that it will not be possible. So he is feeling hopeless, he is feeling helpless, and he is learning the fact that what is loss, what loss is. So what is epistemology? Epistemology, the word epistem means knowledge in the language, in Greek language, which means to understand or to know. So the boy, the child, is learning the root of grief, the root of sadness. Oh, see, he is knowing that how does it feel to lose something, and he is also learning how to stand up. See, here the phrase stand up is also symbolical. What does the phrase stand up mean here? It means to overcome something, to overcome grief, to overcome sadness. So now the boy is also it. Our life cannot ever be stuck. You know that life goes on, our life doesn't stop for anyone. And here the poet is trying to say that if we submerge ourselves in grief, then our life will stop there, and it is not possible. So it doesn't matter whatever grief we are facing, whatever sadness we are facing, we must overcome that. We must make peace with it. We must move forward in our life. So the boy, at once, he is learning what is the loss, how does it feel to lose something, and simultaneously he is also learning how to overcome that pain. Here I will ask you that if you know the story of Gautam Buddha. As you know that Gautam Buddha, he was actually a prince. Okay, his name was Siddharth, and up till the point of time when he lived in his palace, he never knew what is grief, what is pain, what is sadness. He had everything and he was happy. Okay, but one day when he were going to hunting, and he had seen the pain of this world, he had seen a beggar, he had seen someone dying, he had seen a death procession, and in that moment of time, he understands that life is not perfect. That is what is happening with this child. The boy in this poem, he is a small child. He had never seen, he had never understood, he had never felt any kind of pain in his life. So, for the first time, he is understanding what is loss, what is pain, and he knows, he can understand. We can also understand that this pain, he it will be repeated time and again in his life. It happens in everyone's life. There is no single person in this world who hasn't ever lost something, or who hasn't ever felt the grief or pain. So this boy is first time he is learning the responsibility of a thing. He is learning that grief or pain of loss will come time and again in our life, but we cannot let it stop the flow of our life. We'll have to move on. These are in your book. You already have the difficult phrases explained, but there are some other phrases which you might have some problem in, like harbor. A harbor is a sheltered port. It can be in a sea port, or probably in a river port also, where normally the ships or boats take on or discharge their cargo, the goods they are transferring or the people they are transferring. Okay, dime I have already discussed. Dime means 10 cent, and $1 makes 100 cents. Possession means ownership. Now let's discuss the poetic devices that are used in the poem. First one is anaphora. Anaphora is the same word which is being repetitively used in 2 or 3 lines. You can see the first 2 lines of this poem. What is a boy now? What is he to do? So the repetition of what, it forms the anaphora. The second one is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound continuously in a sentence. So as you can see here, buys a ball back. So you can guess which one is the consonant sound here. The b, the b sound, buys a ball back. So alliteration is often combined or confused with the tongue twisters that we use, that one consonant phrase, one consonant sound is being repeated in a sentence in almost every word. Now, personification. We have already discussed personification many times in other lessons of this class. Personification means to provide a person-like quality in any inanimate things or in any animals. Something of a emotion is projected. See here, the poet is saying that the ball is merrily bouncing. Now, merry means, as you know, merry means happy, but a ball is an inanimate thing, so it cannot have emotion, it cannot be merry, it cannot be happy. But as soon as the moment the poet is saying that the ball is merrily bouncing, the poet is personifying it, so as if he is behaving as if the ball is a person and it can feel happiness. Transferred epithet. The same example, merrily bouncing. What is transferred epithet? Transferred epithet is basically an adjective, one adjective which is uh, projected on the other word. As you know, adjectives qualify a noun. Okay, so one qualifying object which belongs to some noun, if it is transferred to another noun with with which the first noun is closely related, it would be transferred epithet. Now in this poem, it is actually an adverb. The same example, merrily bouncing. Who, the when the ball is bouncing, who is actually feeling the happiness, who is actually being merry? The boy. Okay, so the happiness of the boy is being transferred to the ball, so that is why it is an example of transferred epithet. Now the last one, metaphor. Metaphor means, as you know, so this word metaphor, it also comes from a Greek word which is metaphora. The word metaphora in Greek means carrying a word over or beyond. So the meaning of a word is going beyond that word, and that is how it is. So the meaning is going beyond. It is being implied comparison. Here, see, the people will take balls, balls will be lost always. So the meaning is more than it seems. When the poet is saying that people will take balls, balls will be lost always, he does not actually mean he is not actually talking about the only the balls. He is talking about everything that the ball symbolizes, that is the innocence of that boy, the other possessions of the boy, and everything he is going to feel, every sadness he is going to feel in his life. So that is why it is a metaphor. I hope you have understood the poem. That's all for today. Have a good day.